Hello, I'm Chris Gobber and welcome to my channel. I'm an artist, a philosopher of sorts, a writer, general creative type. I'm just living back with my parents now. I've got a bunch of my old paintings and artwork here, so I thought in this video I'd just show some of them. It's going to be quite informal, long vlog, so obviously prepare for that. And then I'm just going to look at a few artworks throughout the last 15 years. It's not even all of it, it's just, I think it's basically about 50% of my output, because some of my work's obviously sold, but then some of it's in other places, in storage, all over the country actually, even abroad now. Like I got sold a painting to a friend in the US recently, some stuff in Russia, some places, some in Australia, all over the world basically. But anyway, without further ado, this is not going to be any sort of chronological order. I'm going to very much approach this in a very random manner. I've got a lot here. Like, I'm in this room, you know, I'm at my parents' house again, so I'm quite hemmed in. I'm going to have to pack all this away afterwards, but I thought it'd just be a good time just to look at some of it, examine some of it. Like I said, the room's in a sort of chaos at the minute because I need to sort stuff out. But I thought before it'd be good to look back at some of the old work and just talk about it and try and. Well, there's varying degrees of quality. Some of it's really bad, some of it's pretty good, some of it's you know, just how I want to work. But then it's obviously pretty subjective. It's not like the literal judgment on my own work, because anyway, so I'll start from here. I'll just start left to right. This is from 2014, I think. It's going to be a little bit of light. It's painting. Started implementing a bit of collage at that time, stenciling. It's just called Big A. Quite influenced by the influence of German Expressionism was starting to become more apparent, and I suppose like so-called naive art as well. Quite a nice application of thick paint. But yeah, it's framed up as well. If you see this video and you want to buy anything, just give me a message. My email is crispygobber@gmail.com. And yeah, if you want to buy anything, just send me a sensible offer. Fly Bird. It's quite a big piece. Can't really tell the scale that well on the phone, but it's 120 by 100 centimeters, which is over a meter high and a meter wide. I think that's what it is. So it's 120 by 100 centimeters. Get that in a bit of light. This is. I almost sold this painting actually. I don't know what happened. Basically, just someone offered me money for it. I said yeah, and then they just never turned up to collect it. So that was great. Anyway, that's that. Mutagenesis. This is for 2015. I had a London studio for a while, about a year and a half. It was ridiculously expensive. Well, actually, no, it wasn't. Actually, it wasn't ridiculously expensive for London. London just is a black hole when it comes to studio provision. You're going to have to spend at least 250 quid. It takes a piss. I mean, it's worth going to London, like I did it for a long time when I was a painter, but just expect to get your bled dry in terms of money. And yeah, it's just an annoying place. This is when I was studio in Woolwich. So I went big when I was doing that studio. I wanted to take full advantage of being there. So it's got a bit of collage in it actually. The canvas is cut off. It's called Mutagenesis. I think the actual. I was just looking before. I think there might be a bit of mould on the back, but oh well, shit happens. We all die. I don't know what. It's true, I guess. Anyway. It's just a copy of a softcore porno magazine. This is actually a painting based on. I wanted to try and capture time and death. So this is a Time magazine photo of some. I think it was a 8-year-old child or something, 10-year-old falling out of a window during a fire. So a bit of a grisly subject, obviously. I don't know if it's exactly finished even, but I was trying to like capture the emotional intensity of that photograph. Quite a grim subject matter. I don't know. I never really felt like this was finished, but hey ho, there we go. Although these are much more the abstract paintings. It's one of a series of abstracts I did when I was at the Picture House, which is actually my hometown where I'm now. But yeah, it's like a studio artist co-op help set up, one member of. Because at the minute I can go down there. I haven't got a studio there because well, I just don't like I used to, but it's good to have that on the doorstep anyway. That's well, probably too heavy in the black, but it's painting it a while ago. I don't know what it's called. I think it was in Manchester when I did that. I wanted to tackle something that every artist has probably tried to at some point, like a crucifixion painting. Actually, per chance, got the Chagall book there. This has probably a feeling of the Chagall in some respects. I do like this painting. Let's see, it's got something, some movement, some dynamism. But the yeah, I think I did break in something here, which was quite good. The central motif of Christ, of course, and then you got all the movement and the colour combinations. I think work. Christian, but look, Jesus is alright by me. I don't mind him. I've never met him because he's dead, but I'm sure I'd probably get on with him if I did meet him. So yeah, just basically a tribute to Christ and just a mirror to the terribleness of human beings, basically. They're not all terrible. I mean, obviously, everyone's got a bit of both of them. A bit of bad, a bit of good. Not many people are truly evil, though, I don't think. It takes effort to be evil, you know. Anyway. Now this is fading a bit. It's a sketch from a time in Sheffield. It's actually going to be quite faded. I actually quite like that it's faded a bit, but yes. Faded in the sun. Black Star. It's a drawing I was doing not long after David Bowie died, so I think that was the reason for the title. Again, it's like a dream, it's from subconscious, so it has no explicit meaning, unless I could make it conscious, but I don't know what it is. I don't know. Spoiler, I saw a painter. You're never going to know exactly what your paintings mean. What a surprise. And with AI, you don't even have to think anymore. You just have to spend 5 minutes writing a prompt into a computer program, and it does all the hard work for you. And colours in the details. It's a frame piece. It's marker pens on card. I do quite like this piece. I did probably hundreds of these drawings in this similar style during the same period. It's not sold, so you can buy it if you want. It's not in too bad condition. Again, like nearly everything else, it's hard to make any money from this shit. Not the best. Here's the first painting I did from life. So this is the first life painting from a life drawing I did. So I did a sketch before this, and this is actually the first. This painting is the result of the first woman I saw naked in a life drawing session. Imagine when I did this painting. So yeah, I quite like it actually. I love the model. She was very attractive, and obviously then I was a virgin, so I was extremely embarrassed almost by doing the having a naked woman in front of me, because I was just, if you're a virgin, that makes you more nervous. But I do like the nice rendering of the details, and generally overall skin tones captured well. I don't know, worth it. It's quite good, I think. Like I didn't actually return to the body as a subject for a long time. Like, there's a lot of abstraction And then I sort of moved away from abstraction after a bit, but that's only been the last 8 years, really, I think. Well, it's always back and forth, but yeah. So there you. This is a bit later on. This is actually, what year was this? 2016. Obviously very exaggerated female form. A lot of movement in the background, a lot of abstraction, sort of mixing it up. I think it's a bit of a failure in a lot of respects. I like some parts of it. Obviously the boobs are massively exaggerated, which is silly. The neck is elongated. It's a sort of deformation of the female body, maybe sort of trying to think what it'd be like to be a woman with sort of body issues, I guess, maybe. So insecurities around breasts. And sort of body shape and image. So it's not necessarily supposed to be a aspirational ideal, it's more supposed to be reflect modern women's insecurities and how the media sort of floods the information space with a bunch of information that says, you know, your body is terrible. So that was cool. What did I call it again? Oh, something like I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's basically what that's about, I think. As again, it's just a series of works just doing, which is essentially exploring an abstract landscape. Your mind is completely free to interpret that however you wish. That's sort of the joy of it. Look, I don't know what it means. It's just a labyrinth of which you can explore, and you can project anything onto it. I mean, you can see here eyes. Obviously, there's bodily shapes. But it's going to change. Paintings they're not paintings that you can look at and they move. That's the entire point of all my paintings, is they move dependent on your emotional state, right? They move around, they shift. It's magic. Still magic. That's still how painting is magic in this world. There's still a place for painting because it has substance. An AI digital image is never actually going to have any texture. It's never going to have any substance. Even if you reproduce it, it's never going to have any texture. So it's still not as good as a painting. So sorry about that, but that's how it is. Anyway, over abstract, it's just like a heavily textured acrylic painting with a lot of medium added to the painting to give it extra body. It's that. I'm going to have to put all these away afterwards, but it's alright. It's worth showing it all anyway. This is not very good. These are both bad. It's a portrait I tried to do with my dad, which completely failed at. Don't like it. Oh, it's real. I mean, that's like when I was like 6, I was messing around, so I mess around with Kandinsky. Not very good. It's really, painting's not even worth talking about, to be honest. Early shit. That's a painting my brother I did. Obviously, like aping Picasso quite heavily, or something else as well. It's a bit twee. I think. Should give it him back actually. He can have it. I don't need it. But yeah, it's a portrait of my brother thinking basically in abstract style. So bad that it's not even hanging anywhere, so I'll give it to him. And he can hang it somewhere. Oh, fuck off. Let's wait before these fucking paintings collapse. Fuck it. It's annoying having loads of paintings actually. It's just like, where do I even put this stuff? Some abstraction. Black line too heavy. Not a fan. Don't like them very much. So bioorganic mess painting. It's like biomorphism. It's just stuff I was exploring a while ago. That's okay, I suppose. Sort of Picasso-esque. Breaking down a form. Obviously the head. It's sort of unfinished, I think, but maybe it is finished. It's at my studio in Manchester. A lonely image, a man in the space of, was the idea. Looking out of a window. Maybe a sort of self-portrait, but I wasn't consciously thinking that at the time. I just had this image come into my head of a man staring into sort of an empty universe. An abstract one. From around about the same-ish period of these. You can see You can see I'd actually quite like this. It's got a nice painterly quality. The circle in the centre is obviously quite interesting. Got a zero there, so again it was a stencil painting, so it would have been from about the same era as this piece. And yeah, this actually is a nice painting that works. The abstraction's got a nice balance between painterliness, sort of tell the texture is quite nice. It's impasto. It's a good painting actually, I think. So on a collaboration actually with an artist called Alex Raymond, who's a sort of graffiti artist. There's a lot of sign painting in London now. It's an interesting painter. We did this collaboration together. From a not too dissimilar sort of vein of work. We've got these drawings which are done with pen, marker, alienation, sort of. Yeah, abstract element alienation, basically. I like to call them anything. So yeah, I was reading a lot of theory then, Deleuze, Guattari, Debord. So yeah, sort of alienation of the modern workplace. Again, explaining art is very difficult, and I don't know exactly what any of these images mean. They might come to mean something years after when I look back at them. Right now I've not actually seen any of this work for years, so again it's just like I don't know exactly what I was feeling when I did it. Ah, there's one here. It's a bit weird. It's a bit, again, from it over. So I was trying to mix that style with something more figurative. I'm not so sure if it's successful. It's a bit Francis Bacon bad, but I don't know. I mean, you've got to work through that sort of thing to try and make something new, right? So I don't regret painting such a painting, but as it were, do I think it's successful? In terms of the learning some new techniques, probably yeah, but overall, no. I don't know. It's not an abstract painting. Like, I'm trying to mix like symbolic landscape imagery with abstraction, the impasto style. Colour-wise, it would need work. I think it's a bit muddy. I don't mind a bit of muddiness in painting, but this is yeah, it's overworked. I think. I don't know. Something's alright to it, but not. You'd have to be in good. Yeah, just. Yeah, it's not that bad. I'm actually going to look upon it. The actual texture does give it something, but yeah. What's that? Okay. What else? It's abstraction. So it's like goes to pure abstraction. Graffiti, scratching in a lot of paint surfaces, and obviously I was looking at a lot of Kiefer and contemporary abstract painters. Another one I did at the end about this time I actually sold to a woman in Liverpool, so that's quite nice. I actually got 100 and something quid for it. This one though, I did not. It's just pure abstract painting. Yeah, it's alright, I think. Polygon maze. I've shown this a few times, I think, in a few different places. Again, that's what I was talking about before, sort of landscape abstraction, organic landscapes. Colour relationships quite good. Complementaries, reds, yellows, blues, the brown, so 4 colours basically. Not too bad. An alright piece. This is my time in Sheffield. I went through this sort of phase of where it go more neutral grey sort of colours. Sort of air of paranoia perhaps, and alienation again came into the work. Do like that little splatter on the right in the corner. On the right actually. So yeah, I just started re-exploring that dream world, or dream limbo space, as in limbo of the mind, right? So the neutral space in between life and death, which is called life. I can't remember what it's called. Again, it's quite an early one from Victoria Mill in Congleton. It's I guess trying to mix landscape with something a bit more, It's in 2010. A weird self-portrait from a time in Manchester. I actually stared upon this for a while, but don't look too happy. Massive hair. My hair was quite large at the time. And very thick application of paint. Yeah. Again, I put it in the same. It was around about the same time as this. So I was obviously working through something. It feels unfinished. But there you go. Yeah. That's from 2011. So I'm still at Picture House. Just again work on that mixing abstraction, semi-abstract, figurative, symbolic imagery. I like how this disturbs me actually. I like disturbing paintings. Quite like it still. Yeah. Obviously, it's gonna. I think a lot of people's reaction to this would be sort of like it's art brute, sort of brute, you know, outsider art or whatever. Because I don't know. Apparently, if you teach yourself painting, that makes you an outsider or something. I don't know. Oh, well, you can't really completely paint in isolation. You do have to learn a few tricks to trade. Like I did go to a painting workshop for abstraction and art with an artist called Anne Smart in Scotland quite a few years ago. So I did learn technique, and obviously I've learned technique from just talking to loads of other artist painters. That's basically how you do it. Just talk to other artists who are much older and more experienced than you, really. I know they're not going to tell you what to do, but they're going to give you ideas. You either take them or leave them. That simple. They don't really teach you how to paint anyway at university anymore. As far as I'm aware, I don't think so. I think basically it's just the same as any other academic system. You mostly have a bunch of older people who are the professors who have passed through the system and ascended to the point of masters, and their word is gospel, and you just have to take it on the chin so that you can become one as well. It's just like any institution, right? Anyway, about blocks, abstract painting. This is actually hanging up in a Young Pretender, a pub in this town, for quite a while. I just gave him a bunch of my paintings for free to just hang up. Better than just rotting away as they do now. Yeah, quite like this painting. Again, sort of landscape abstraction. Okay, these are all quite big. They're like metre by metre, all of them. Snakes and Ladders did that at Second Floor Studios as well. I'll start putting them back now. It's like a visual. At the same time, so I'm turning them back because I'm now in the unenviable position of moving my own paintings. My mum's going to get pissed off at me for moving them because I don't know. This, I can't remember what I called it. It's a metre by metre, so it's quite big in real life, so to give you an idea of scale. Zoom it in a bit. Yeah, I actually like this painting. It's probably a bit warped actually, but this was a bit of a breakthrough one actually in terms of like more expressionistic, figuration in my painting, I guess. Yeah, what's the sort of, and quite ambitious in scale too. It's quite funny actually. I mean, there's always something absurdly funny about this painting. Like a rabbit on the right, this character here. This guy's like sort of putting his hand down, got complete almost like. I don't know exactly what it means. I find it quite interesting to look upon it now even. It almost looks like a ghost. I don't know. It's hard to interpret your own images. Let's see them. I have no idea. Advance. This is a very early one. This is probably the second metre by metre painting I ever did. The first one I don't think exists, or I painted it. Yeah, I did paint over it because the next one's the one I painted over. That's the first big painting I did, really. It's just my early work, 2010 I guess, 02 or whatever. yes, it's actually still quite like that. My mate, funny story. Oh, Mick, my mate, who's in Congleton, was I think he challenged that he'd said to me, like, let me paint over that one. I was like, no. I let him paint over one of them, I think, from what I remember, but I was like, no. I was quite proud of this one at the time. I let him paint over that. I think I let. So that was that. This is the. So this is actually not the painting you see here, but the painting underneath is the painting I did. But then I actually painted over that with this painting called Bad Breakup, which is quite good. So unfortunately, the stretcher itself is only like I think it's still alright. It's not actually warped, but yeah, it's something interesting in this painting. I think still, even looking up on it. This is again from the London studio. This is Drowning in Utopia, I think it's called. So it's basically about dystopia. How utopia is actually dystopia. It literally means no place, or can be. It's early, like I said, similar phase to when I was doing the sort of putting where Francis Bacon and that sort of like post-war abstraction. So yeah, bit intense. It's like a dead zombified body. It's a bit tortured in a lot of respects. I mean, quite a lot of this work is in some respects. There's nothing wrong with painting tortured imagery, of course. I mean, like, I flip between both anyway. Like, I flip between almost like a romanticism and then like a sort of violence in my work as well. But, you know, it's like life, man. This is quite weird in a way. I painted this before COVID, and I'm not saying I predicted the COVID crisis, because that would be completely delusional, of course. But I did paint this rather haunting image about 4 or 5 years before. This is when I was in Manchester, 2016. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like, I mean, in hindsight, it's quite strange that I painted that mask on the figure's face. It was like an alien figure. I obviously wouldn't read too much into it. You know, I'm not actually a Damus, despite having a beard. Okay. Again, if I want to sort of explore from the drawing from life, this is a painting I painted from a model, Scottish model, and this is called so I did this is actually based on some sketches I did with a model, and then I actually did the painting over a series of a week. It's okay. Like, I could make it better. I think possibly anatomically it could be better. Obviously, the tone's okay for the skin, but yeah, it's alright. I mean, it was like, again, like at that time when I was in the body more, so I was going to more life drawing classes. Probably the last painting I'll show. So I've not actually shown this in any show ever. So interesting. Just sit down. It's obviously quite a long video. I apologise. Quite a lot of work to show. So this is the dark inside me. I did this at the same time when I was at that Manchester studio. It's a self-portrait in an imagined landscape. I wanted to the idea was that basically, I wanted to go do what, you know, Jung would call like shadow work and that. So basically, if I was thinking about, and also added this hand there, so there's still sort of ambiguity there. Could be like a ghost, could be a. Obviously, the figures are quite ghost-like because they're white and they're very pale. They're not even just white; they're extremely pale figures. Quite a dark image, like I said. Like, well, I was going through a bit of a difficult patch then, depression, just burnt out, all that sort of thing. So this sort of he's got like almost like black, no eyes sort of thing, which is a recurring theme actually in a lot of work. I probably got that from and subconsciously from the expressionists, maybe like Kirchner used to do that a lot as well. Obviously, like I do sometimes a hard thing to paint eyes, but I do paint them. But yeah, when it comes to figurative imagery, sometimes I don't know. You can just sort of see. I mean, you can see the and there, but sort of an empty expression, really vacant, really, because there are no eyes. More dilly eye. It all depends. It very depends what you do with it, really. What the reason for your stylistic choices, as it were. Anyway, I'll leave the video there. It's obviously like half an hour, quite long. Leave any comments you have. Like, I'm a big boy. I can take any criticism. Just make it constructive. Don't just be abusive. You know, I am a painter. I'm an artist, but I do have feelings. But you can feel free to just go criticize it, because you know, I won't get better unless somebody criticizes my work. I'm fine with that. Obviously, there's a lot to go through, so yeah, get on with it. Fine, I'm fine with that. If you're an artist yourself, hope it maybe provided some inspiration or, I don't know, guidance of some sort. It's not a very easy time for artists. It's a weird time. I can attest to that. I'm staying at my parents' house and looking for another job again. Everything's gone wrong, but it'll be fine probably eventually. Anyway, like and subscribe obviously if you like this art, or if you like art in general. If you're an artist, right?